Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So on my blog, I share how I made my fortune in real estate. Starting at 19 years old, I bought my first property, 19, and I was a millionaire by 28. I've got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, and you can get my book. It's a bestseller on Kindle and Amazon. You get it in paperback or digital form. I don't like to take people's money. I'm not asking for people's money. I'm not looking for partnerships. In fact, I recommend you stay away from them. Hey, man, how's it going? I do have a mentorship program. I've only done one. It's been very successful. You can go to flipanythingusa.com and look at my mentorship, and you can start to read the testimonials. And this is we just finished, a week ago. But you're in. Once you're in, you get a 1 month crash course, and then we do but then you're in for a year, and we've got a private forum back there. Hey, Keith, glad you're here. In fact, some of the folks that are in my mentorship are tuning in now. And I want to talk about how to begin, okay? Because a lot of y'all, you don't know what to do. There's all these yo-yos on, self-aggrandizing, standing in front of a car, standing in front of $100,000 or $200,000 car, which is a joke. You're not here to watch a guy stand in front of a car. You want to know about real estate and buying real estate. And so when you see somebody standing in front of a fancy car, Chris Crone is one of these guys. I don't know why he does it. It looks silly. It looks ridiculous, very self-aggrandizing. If you look at the beginning of a Chris Crone show, you'd think you're about to watch a performer sing, but instead of a salesman throw a pitch. It's a joke. It really is a joke to me. Look, when you see me, I'll be standing up and talking like the building. I'm in a building right now. This building is worth $2.5 million, okay? And I paid about $1 million for it, okay? That's the kind of information you want to know, okay? Don't be a millionaire voyeur. Don't be a fool, okay? So many people are fools. And like I tell you all the time, if you listen to it, the masses are the asses, and that's just a fact. It's almost universal. But I'm about to go on a fly fishing trip. I'm going to be gone a few days. I wanted to check in with the folks in my mentorship group, and of course anybody that's watching, and always here to answer questions, and we'll get to some of that. Again, I have a book. Let me flip the screen on here real quick. That's my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. You can get that on Amazon and Kindle. It's a no-nonsense, straight to the point, how I made my fortune, made my first million and tens of millions after that. Nothing's changed. Only technology has gotten better and gets better all the time. I am a new fan of PropStream. You can go to the links below if you want to look at PropStream. Bear with me, some of you guys. Hey, Lou, glad you're here. I've got, before I get to some of the Q&A for some of you guys, and some of you have been following me a long time, anybody that's new here, I want you to know, I don't want your money. I suggest you buy my book. I see guys get ripped off all the time. This is a $10 book in Kindle, $20 book on Amazon in paperback form. And if you're going to get ripped off for $10, okay? Because the people that lure you into these free seminars, they are like some of the sleaziest and slickest salesmen there are. They are there to find out how much money you have available on your credit card, or how much of credit you have available that they can take from you. That's their number one goal. It's how they make money. It's not by giving information away. Everybody should know that. Free really isn't free. I mean, you can watch my YouTube videos and you can watch those. Those are free. Every video on TV is free. Is on YouTube. It's pretty much free. But whether the information is worth anything, you can discern that. But a lot of people don't like to go shopping for a car because some of the car salesmen, they're slick and pushy. They get you in the seat, then they keep going back and forth talking to their manager, and that's a way of trying to get as much money out of you as they can until finally they either let you go or they give up and they get you for whatever they can. Yeah, so we can talk about some questions here. But let me just tell these if anybody new here how to start. Just to start, look, start looking at property. Number one, there's no way you're not gonna get, if you pay for a seminar or pay for a book or a course or whatever. Listen, nobody can download common sense and the knowledge that you need about the property around you. You have to do the work, and it's simple. Okay, it's simple. It's a little bit of work, but when you start making a lot of money at it, it won't be work at all. It'll be something you enjoy. You'll have a passion for it. You'll be getting excited every time you see a property that's up for sale, and when you start negotiating. I mean, I just yesterday I was in California, and I've been talking to a gal for about 2 years about her property, and it's one I really want. It's one it's near the beach, and it's where I want to be when I'm retiring here in the near future. So start looking, because the advantage of looking, you look around in your neighborhood, you'll see that you can find deals on property. You can walk the property like somebody wrote there. I'll tell you, Lou, in a minute. But you look at property. Look at what's near you, okay? Maybe you know what your house is worth if you bought your house, or maybe you didn't buy your house. Maybe you're renting. It doesn't matter. It's just common sense and math. You look at the properties that have sold and for sale, talk to pros. And when I say pros, I don't mean pros meaning agents, people that sell property in the neighborhood. They can tell you what things are going for and why. You'll come up to a house and you'll see, gee, why is this one $150,000 and this one's $200,000? There's usually a reason and there's an explanation for it. Or why did they sell for the difference of $50,000? It could be square footage. It could be just a condition, or maybe it was updated. But these are the things you need to know so that you can do like-kind comparisons when you go to make a decision to buy something. Now, in my book, I teach you how to get to the deals before anybody else, or to talk to people and make them think about selling before they've even thought about it with anybody else. It's a big advantage to take this, to use what you'll learn in my book. Anyways. So you got to know value. The way you know value, again, look at properties, compare, see what's sold, and get an idea what the stuff's worth. Ask questions. A lot of people are fearful. They're afraid to ask a question. Never be afraid. Never be afraid. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody's going to shut the door in your face, or they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to share with you. You got to get past fear, because if you don't ask questions and you don't talk to people, you're never going to get wealthy. It's just not going to happen. You got to be proactive. Just that simple. You got to be proactive. And I realized I didn't turn my studio lights on, so I realized I'm looking pretty dark here. The other thing is, like I said, don't be afraid. Ignore the seminars. The seminars aren't going to do anything for you. Bear with me half a second. Sorry about that. I'm actually a little bit jet lagged because I've been running back and forth so much between California and where I'm at today. And I'm heading out to Idaho tomorrow to go fishing. So I go trout fishing, fly fishing with some buddies every year. And that's one of the best things about, you get into real estate and you start making some money is you have time to do stuff and you have money to do stuff. I have 4 kids. I write checks for cars. I write checks for college. I don't go into debt for their tuition. None of that stuff. It's like change. When you get enough money, that stuff is like change. It's, the stuff I sweat is like, I'm stretching to buy a, building for millions of dollars, to put the down payment down. Now, that's the kind of stretch I deal with now. That's stuff I whine and cry about, or losing a deal that I could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars on, boo-hoo. That's what I start feeling sorry for myself. But this is the reality for somebody that's active and making money in property. And that's where you want to be, is be disappointed that you're not making as much as you want to, okay? But I don't mean at the lowest level. I mean at the higher levels. Again, and I want to tell you something, ignore the seminars. Just ignore them. It's so important. You just ignore the seminars. They're scams. They're all scams. I've never heard of a good story coming out of one yet. When I was younger, a seminar meant going down there and at the back, they'd sell you a book, or a guy would have a couple of books, Dave Delgado and some of these other guys, and you'd buy a few books. It was not a terrible thing to buy a few books. You have books. Partners, I can tell you right now, you don't need a partner, but you certainly don't need a senior partner, okay? You don't need somebody that holds the reins. Now, it's okay if you're going to go find a deal and you need money, okay? If you can't get the money without getting a partner in the deal, if you have to bring a partner in, fine, bring a partner in. But don't let anybody be the senior partner. You be the senior partner, or at the worst, be equal partners. The reason that's important is because, look, guys like Grant Cardone, and I think Chris Crone too, they're asking for money. They're always asking for money. Listen, somebody's asking for money. They're asking you for the down payment so they can make the lion's share on the rest of the money, on the rest of the deal. Look, you should be the one asking for the money, okay? You should be the one looking for a partner, but you find the deal. The deal is the gold. If you got a deal and get in between what somebody has and what somebody wants, that's the key thing. Have the money. You got to have the money, to make the deal. But if you have the deal, finding the money is easy. Trust me. So anyways, let's get to some questions. Let's see. All right. I'll go to the top here real quick. Hey, Ichiban, glad you're here. All right. He says he loves the book. Fixing up your house, planning on selling it. Cool, man. Glad you're here. Hey, Keith, good to see you. Vito, glad you're here. Audiobook. I just finished the audiobook, the recording. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get the things in place, but it's being done. What's the biggest deal that I've ever done in real estate? Probably the one, I made two. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to exaggerate, but I made more than 2 million. Well, I made a couple of them like that. I'll tell you what some really cool ones were. I bought apartment buildings, and I bought them for about $10,000 a unit, and I sold them for like $55,000 a unit. So you can do the math on that. 40 times 34. I made nearly $1.5 million on that. That was good. I made more. I took the monies from that and I parlayed that into other deals. I bought a piece of land for $205,000, and I bought the place next to it for $120,000, and then I sold that for $2.8 million. So there's $2+ million. There was some expenses along the way, but I rented it and I made money. So $2+ million on that one. Oh gosh. And the building I'm standing in, I haven't realized the profit yet, but it's certainly worth a lot more than I paid for it. I have other properties. Let's see, a nice one, a really nice deal, because this is fast money, is I bought a property, and it's in my book. I talk about it in the book. That was 70 acres. That was really exciting. I bought 70 acres for $2,000 an acre. I got it for $140,000. And in 3 weeks, I had it sold for $520,000 an acre. Yeah, 7 times 14. I think I sold it for $7,000 an acre. But there's all kinds of stuff. Watch my videos. Watch my past videos. I had a lot I bought for $40,000. I sold it for $110,000 or $100,000. Made $60,000 in again a month or two. These are the things you can do. And when you get that chunk of money, when you create that cash, and like I said, when I first started, I bought some houses. The first thing I bought a big building, but I bought it by myself, bought it with a low down payment, but I bought enough time over the escrow period. That's the time from the time you agree to purchase to the time you close. That was wonderful. A 6-month escrow allowed me to save about $9,000, $10,000 for the down payment that I ultimately bought the property with, which was owner finance. You learn a lot about owner financing. I don't know anybody that's done as much owner financing as I have. I had to. I was 19 years old. I didn't have credit. It was the only option I had. But really, if you're going to be an investor, if you can make it happen, it's a great way to go because you don't get, things just don't pay. I mean, interest, you get nothing for your money. Money's so cheap right now. People are anxious to loan it, and you don't get anything for it in the bank. So the owner financing is an incentive for a lot of people. If you're smart enough to bring it to their attention, that's a real thing. So let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Lou. So Lou's asking me if I have any luck with my deal. It'd be premature for me to tell you that I lost it, but I feel like I lost it. Really excited about it. Just hoping, I just almost got, there's somebody there first. And I always tell you, if you can't be there first, be there second, and just try like hell to screw it up for number one so you can take their place. And, it's a crude and rough way of putting it, but the fact is that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get somebody pushed out of the way so that you will be the superior offer. I tried. It looks like this guy was stronger than I hoped. He had financing. I was going to pay cash. But in the end, I heard he got his financing. I'm still kind of technically in escrow. I'm sitting there waiting on the sidelines because the candle's burning. I mean, I've got two deals I need to buy something 600,000 plus, and I need to buy something 300,000 plus because the tax implications are pretty terrible. I got to pay, 70, 80,000 on the 300, and I got to pay probably on the 565 I need to spend. I'll probably have to pay 150,000 on that one. So I want to get this money invested and defer the taxes. And this is a good problem to have, but it makes it tough to go fishing. But I'm going fishing because I only do it once a year. And but when I get back, believe me, my tail's going to be on fire because it's going to be, I got like 30 days to find something, and I just don't want to, I like to make deals, good deals, and I don't like to have to weigh the fact that I'm deferring taxes in the equation. But sometimes it happens. I kind of wish, I don't know, but I will say this. Listen, you guys know that I went from selling 4 houses to jumping it up to 8. I've already sold 4. And I started to feel like maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe the economy's not going to be so bad. Well, I'm starting to think it is going to be tough. We're going to have a fast recovery, no question. But, I think United Airlines is laying off 40,000 people. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of jobs. And those are a lot of consumers that aren't going to be able to spend money. And, I drive around and I'm seeing, I see buildings, offices are closing, businesses are closing. What did I see? Not just gyms, a lot of gyms were closing. The companies that were on the border of dying because of Amazon taking over, they've thrown in the towel. They're going under. I've seen some mom and pop places disappear. I've seen some restaurants disappear. Actually, I went to a Jamba Juice today, and it was empty. It was empty. Not that I drink Jamba Juice, but I actually was going to the property, the pizza place next door, actually. But I pulled up, Jamba Juice is closed now, too. So a lot of stuff closing, not necessarily the whole company, but individual places I see folding up. Okay, Lou's got a question here. Tom, I've been talking with hard money lender, 8.5% and 1 point. Okay, a point just means 1%. If he loans you, so in other words, that doesn't sound like a bad deal. A point, when somebody says they're going to charge you a point, they're going to charge you 1% of the money they're loaning you. So if I loan you $10,000, 1% of $10,000 is $100, okay? Or if it's $100,000, it's $1,000, right? So if you're going to borrow $100,000, Lou, and he's going to charge you 8.5% interest, but he's also going to add 1%. He's going to charge you $1,000. It's like a premium, okay? $1,000 premium, 1 point. Some people charge much more, but that's not excessive. I mean, if I could borrow, if I needed $50,000 to buy a property that I'm going to make $40,000 on, so I borrow the $50,000 and I got to pay $1,000, okay, just for the loan. There's that. And now I'm paying, say, 10% interest. If I hold the property for 6 months, there's $2,500. So now $2,500 would represent the interest at 10% on 50,000. And then the point is the premium. Okay, what you can call it a premium. It's like a buyer's premium. So that would cost me $3,500. If I borrowed the money, bought the real estate, flipped the deal, at the end of 6 months, I will have incurred $2,500 interest that I owe the lender, plus the 1 point, the $1,000. So that would have cost me a total of $3,500 to borrow 50. But if I did it to make 50 or to make 25,000, I mean, now you got $21,500 that you wouldn't have made without the money. And look at it this way. People complain about hard money lenders. Don't, because I love hard money lenders, okay? Because it means I don't need a partner. I don't have to split. If I'm going to make $50,000 or $100,000, I would rather pay 10% interest and pay 2 points. And, let's say it's a 6-month turnaround and that cost me $5,000. So it cost me $6,000 or $7,000, but I'm going to make $50,000. Okay. If I have a partner putting up the money, I got to split it with them. So that's the worst. I mean, a partner is the worst. And like I said, a senior partner, when I was talking about, these proposals that I see coming out of Grant Cardone, where you put up the money so he can use it as a down payment, and then his margin is basically in the spread between your interest and what the property generates in the banks, what the bank charges for the other 3 quarters. I mean, I'd love to be in Grant's position. I mean, that's fantastic. The reason I don't do it is I think it's unethical. I don't think it's fair to you little guys. And when I say little guys, I don't mean it in any insulting ways, but I mean people that are worth less than $1 million. Okay, if you're worth less than $1 million, I think you'd be pissing in the wind. Okay, with a deal like that, you don't need it. You don't need it. Hold the range yourself. Hold the range yourself. You'll be a wealthier person, and you'll be a hell of a lot wiser too. Let's see what else we got. Did I answer you, Lou? I think I did. Okay, elite investor. How do you determine if you should buy and hold a property for long term? People have different criteria. Look, I own strip centers, commercial, bar, restaurant, nails, massage parlor, all that sort of thing, and they cash flow. They're necessities in the neighborhood. I know, there's always a chance they're going to fail. I mean, business, 9 out of 10 businesses fail at start, but a lot of them are good. When I rent to a tenant, I always feel better about somebody that's already been in business for a while. But so having a property full of established businesses would be one that I would love to hold because they're established. They're gonna pay their rent, and if the property pencils right, if I buy it under market, and it already has, let's say it brings in a 6% return or a 10% return based on its real value, and then I'm coming in and buying it for 30% under, which is what I show you how to do with my book, then on day one, I mean, it was already a good deal at full value, but now it's a fantastic deal because I bought it under market. And if the market starts to get shaky, I have an opportunity to sell it and still realize a profit. I've had some businesses that are struggling with this COVID thing. And, I'm to be honest, I've been pretty fortunate with my tenants. I'm less concerned about my tenants failing than I am with other buildings becoming empty and there being a glut of empty space that I have to compete with. But I keep my rents pretty reasonable. That's one of my hedges against people leaving me, is my rents are really reasonable. I don't gouge some people. They get a bad property manager. Property manager sticks everybody for every cent they can possibly get, which is, it's a double-edged sword. If you charge everybody the max, they're the first to flee when there's a better deal to go somewhere. If you charge them a reasonable amount, they'll stick and stay with you for a long time, even in tough times, because you're still competitive with the market. Okay, let's see. I think I answered your question right. That's why I'd hold stuff like that. I do hold stuff like that long term. Okay, Jose Ramirez, or no, Claude, I'm sorry. Have you ever purchased subject to the existing mortgage? I mean, maybe, I mean, the only reason it would be subject to the existing mortgage would be subject to it being as much as they say it is. If you're going to clear it when you go to buy it, you want to make sure, obviously, you can't buy a property for 100,000 if they owe 120 on it. But if it's subject to you assuming the mortgage, yeah, I've done that lots of times. Uh, you'll buy a property and it's subject to you being able to assume the first. Some people don't want to wrap. So many times mortgages have an alienation clause, or it's an all due clause, or yeah, what is it? All due on sale, um, upon sale. So sometimes though, you can work a deal with the lender, and you go, look, I'd like to assume this mortgage, and a lot of times they're like, you know what, we can make that work. And I mean, the big banks can't do it, but smaller banks can. Uh, and obviously private lenders can. If they have an alienation clause, they can make an exception. They go, no, we want the money to keep coming in. And what they'll do is in fact, the restaurant I sold was subject to, I had owner financing in place. I had a fantastic loan, 700 or $720,000, 3% interest, three. And when I sold it, that's half the reason I sold it and made so much money on the deal is I had financing already in place. Now, there was a clause they had to approve them, but they just wanted a good tenant that was paying. And the person I sold my restaurant to already owned 6 or 7 other restaurants. So they were a good, safe bet. Okay. Okay, Lou. All right. Somebody's asking me, does your teachings coincide with all laws of every state? Yes. My teachings are pretty simple. You try to buy property under market. I mean, you buy it under market, and really there's no reason to pay full value. There's always, it doesn't matter where you live in the USA, UK, Canada, wherever it's a free market, or wherever at least you can buy and sell property, it works. Okay. It's as simple as buying under market. And now how you find deals, I mean, that's what I mostly show you in the book. Now you can watch, I've made over hundreds of videos. You can watch all my videos and you can get the same information. This will kind of fast track you. And then I have a mentorship course. It's $600, founding members. It's like a 1-month crash course, but then you got a year of being a member still, where you'll continue to get some support. And what's great is the people that are in the mentorship, they're serious. They're serious about making money. And what's nice is in the environment inside. If you go to flipanythingusa.com, go look at my mentorship, because that's where on the inside we have a forum. We do Zoom meetings. We have like a library now of Q&As where you can go through the chapters and subjects. The subjects, I mean, when I say chapters, you go through the subjects of the Q&A. For every hour that I've taught, there's been 2.5 to 3 hours of questions and answers that lead to much, much, much more information, much more nuance in detail in so many ways that you can't cover. But this is all you need to get started. I promise you. This is all you need to get started. You can get started without the book too. Just watch my videos and you'll get started. And they watch other people. Like Ben Malla's a great guy. He doesn't give as much detail, I think, but he's to the point, and he's a straight shooter. I really like Ben Malla. Again, I like Ben because he stands in front of, he sits in his mansion that he owns, that he paid cash for. Okay. He doesn't necessarily stand in front of a car, or, a car is a joke. A car is a joke. And like I say, when you see these guys, whenever somebody is trying to sell you a real estate course and using a car to impress you, just write them off. Just write them off. It's a joke. I mean, anybody that's a real estate investor would just laugh that crap right off. It's just silly. A car is nothing compared to a piece of real estate. And, but a lot of people are, like I say, the masses are the asses. People get carried away and get fooled. All right, let's keep going. Can I discuss? Oh, yeah, I guess I can. The question, elite investors, can you discuss who your real estate team consists of? Okay, well, I don't have a real estate team per se. I'm a one-man show. Don't get me wrong. I have agents that work for me that write deals. I have full-time people that work for me that maintain my properties. Unfortunately, like the air conditioning man, he could almost be a partner with me because I call it $5,000 to death every year. Every year, summer breaks, heat gets hot. That's $5,000, every week minimum for a new air conditioner somewhere. But that's because I got a lot of property. But so the team consists of subcontractors that I pay promptly. Everybody knows I pay immediately. If I hire a painter outside my own paint crew, they get paid immediately. If I put in new countertops, they get paid immediately. I never hire anybody that I can't pay. And some people do. And of course, those people are a nightmare for a subcontractor. They go to get paid and they, find out their money's tied up in something it shouldn't be tied up in. It's $600, of course. Sure. Tom, your thoughts on investor getting a real estate license to do their own deals? Not necessary. And I'm going to talk about that a second. Look, I went and got a license once, okay? In hindsight, I don't even know why. If you're going to get a license, it would be to be an insider inside that office so that you can hear about deals before anybody else in the office. Maybe. That's about it, though, because some people have the idea that they're going to get a real estate license and now they're going to sell their own deals or buy their own deals and save that commission. You don't save that much. And to be honest, the fact that everybody has errors and omissions insurance in that group is a good thing. If you ever get in a lawsuit, they'll sue the brokers. The brokers or the agents, they have the coverage. They'll take the hit on that. I've been investing, 39 years. 39 years ago, I bought my first piece of property. And I've been buying every year. I've bought multiple properties every year since then. And so when you buy that much property, you see a lot of things that most people never see in their lifetime. As far as, let's say, I've seen title companies fail, their obligations. I've had legal issues with them for them to pay because they screwed up. They didn't deliver clear title to me. But in general, it's probably never going to happen. You're probably never going to get involved in a lawsuit. But if you do a ton of stuff, it will. Sometimes, I can tell you, when you own a lot of property, you feel like an octopus, okay? You just feel like you got tentacles everywhere. And somebody's chewing on this one, somebody's chewing on that one. That's what it feels like, And, it can be in the form of, I got a $5,000, tentacle being chewed on over here. And, it's a good problem to have, but there's no easier money. There's no quicker way to get rich than real estate. It's the only thing it's really the only thing that you can buy that goes up in value, right? Think about all the things you can buy. Almost everything goes down in value, okay? Almost everything goes down in value. But real estate goes up. It goes up. It doesn't always go up as fast as you want it to, but it does go up eventually. Oh, hey, Ellie. I'm glad you're here, Ellie. And you know what? I kind of missed the group Saturday. I did a little video spur of the moment Saturday when I was, I'm looking for property. I'm trying to find a beach house to buy. And, let's see, Ellie. I found a for sale by owner in vacation. Oh, good. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, you know what? If you look on the mentorship page, We actually have a few testimonials now. Ron has just done a knockout deal. He's already bought 4 properties since he took the mentorship, and he completely attributes it to the book and to the mentorship. So I'm glad for that, and I appreciate it. And let's see. Yeah, also, and I know, look, my phone's in the, you guys, you in the mentorship, you're going to get the critical support number. So you'll have my phone. We're going to do text. We're just going to do it with text. I'll return your call. I'll return. If you heard my message says, I don't answer my phone, leave a message. Unless I identify you and I know who you are, I don't even pick up my phone. This is my real personal mobile phone. But what's great is the everybody, after they get through the mentorship, they know what to do. It's just about patience and not getting discouraged. And before you get there, and I know it's tough sometimes. I'm dealing with it right now. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. 2 deals. I thought I was gonna have these things done. Sometimes I'm overconfident. Don't get there. Sometimes I get overconfident. Oh, I'll figure it out. I can do anything. And then I'm going, oh, geez, whatever. I overestimated myself. Okay, and it's not a good place to be when you're running down to the wire. Okay, Casper, Tom, I got your book. I have a question about inquiring about someone's houses and not come off as trying to take advantage of them. Well, Casper, don't lie. You can just ask them if they want to sell it, how much they want for it. And because listen, it's kind of like musical chairs. Property can go down. If you look at, let's just say property, here's real estate, okay? Like right now, guess what? It just went down. And this is because of the COVID thing. Property values went down. Now, sometimes they go way down, okay? But we didn't have a burst. We didn't have a big bubble. So, you got this, okay? And then it goes up again, and it can, we'll just do a variation of this. It can go down, and then it can come up, and go up, and then it can go down. But in general, that's kind of what it looks like, okay? And that's just rough. But my point is that this being, level, okay? Real estate does this. It goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. But it's always climbing, right? In other words, it keeps climbing. This is up. It goes from here. It does go up. It does have some fluctuations in between. And you know what? If you want to be a real long-term investor, you can buy here. You can hold. The problem is if you buy just 1 or 2 properties, you're going to max yourself up. And I'm going to get to Powell's question here about how to scale. So the problem is, I'll give you an example. A farmer can buy 160 acres here. In fact, there's a farmer I know that owned 160 acres, okay? And I got a couple farmer stories actually. But the bottom line is, you buy it here, you're 20 years old, you bought it from your grandpa who or your dad who used to own the ranch, and now you farm, and now you got it for $20,000, and now here you are, an old man, and you got $3 million or $5 million. Well, I don't want $5 million when I'm an old man. I want $5 million down here, okay? When I'm a young man, okay? I want to have a lot of money early. And if you want to buy long term, and if all you really care about is you love your job, teacher, maybe you do something fairly, not high dollar, and you love your job, and you make a few investments, and you get here, and you go, okay, I got my teacher's retirement. I bought 3 or 4 homes. They're worth, $2 million. I've got $2 million now plus my retirement. That's a beautiful thing. And if that's what your standards are for making money and to get that goal, you're gold. You can do that. Just buy it right. You still should buy my book, because it just, you just get 39 years of experience, real experience, cheap. And it's, the book is, it just takes the things you see. You'll never see a lot of the stuff that happens in there, but the most important stuff I make you aware of is what's going to help you the most. And people that are, commenting here, I know a lot of these names. People already own the book. and are in the course too. But the bottom line is, you're going to have these variations. But if you can get in here and you buy right, if you buy right every time, like just say let's just say here it is going up here. If you always buy under the value, right? You buy it, you can realize this profit here, but you can do it over and over and over within a year's time. So you can, instead of buying one property and waiting for that appreciation of 10 years, you can flip 10 properties and make the same money, but make it in 1 year. All right, I'm back. Do you guys hear me? I ran out of power. I wasn't paying attention. Everybody still here? Every time. I'm the worst. Okay, I assume we're here. So let's look at some of these questions. Okay, Powell. Let me get to Powell's question about how to scale. So this is kind of how you do it, Powell, is by flipping. I'm a flipper, okay? I flip. Now, don't get me wrong. I keep about 130 to 150,000 square feet of rental property all the time. I mean, if you ever see my portfolio drop under, say, 120,000 square feet or 100,000 square feet, it's because I'm buying something much bigger and I'm selling something to buy something bigger. But I love rentals. I love commercial, industrial. I don't love residential, but I make money on residential for flips. I don't like buying any houses over $300,000, unless it's just an absolute steal. I don't. And back to the reason I was going to this other example earlier, somebody said, you're going to approach somebody and you don't want to feel like you're ripping them out. Well, ask them what they want. What they want is what they want. They may accept $60,000 for a $100,000 property that you think's worth $100,000. But remember, things do go down. You can buy a property for $60 grand or $100 grand, and you go into a lull. Like if you bought right at the peak of COVID and you paid full price, you lost money. It may be temporary, and it probably will be temporary. But the bottom line is, if you pay full value, it's like hot potato, right? Somebody gets stuck with it, or musical chairs. When it stops, somebody doesn't have a chair, and that can happen. So I would say the way I scale is I make money, and I just keep buying more. And then the more you have, and the more people understand that you are good for it. Your banks, you become what they call a high net worth individual, and the banks will assign you a banker. You know, that's always nice. You know, you'll get other perks out of that too. Sometimes great seats at a sporting event. But and then when you're there, then you meet other people that are pretty rich too. That interesting people. Hey, Alex, glad you're here. Thanks for watching. Okay, what's the best way to minimize headaches owning property when you have? Well, listen, I can tell you, I run everything on my phone. I mean, if you'll see me if I'm ever out of range on my phone, and then I get back in range, I got to say, hang on a minute, whoever I'm with, and they'll see me voice texting all the time, voice texting, and it'll be like, that's okay, get the 10-foot banner. That's okay, you know, we'll take 15,000. You know, well, that's okay. Go ahead and put in that air conditioner. I run my 130,000 square feet of rentals. I run almost 100% by text. It's rare that I need to talk to anybody. And, you know, now I put somebody in my position managing my properties. I got a young lady that works for me that she's worked with me for 10 years in a different position at a different company. And well, now she got a real estate chops. She's been managing for a year for somebody else. She quit me about a year or two ago. And I said, you know what? I'd like to have her back. I knew she was in real estate. I hired her back. And now I'm training her to manage all my properties. And it's working pretty nicely, you know, and she'll call me up and say, hey, Tom, they can either replace the entire unit for $7,000 or they can fix, you know, the condenser outside for, you know, $3,500. And those, I'm trying to, you know, this is the beauty of real estate. You can manage a lot. You know, you can manage a lot fairly easily. It's not that tough. What's tough is when you have just a little bit of property and you got to do everything yourself. And I've done it. And that's where I started. You know, I painted the houses, I cleaned the windows, I scraped, you know, the glass, and, you know, I did all the hard work in the beginning. And that's how you start. That's fine. You have time for it. But what's nice is when you get to a position that you are just making time to delegate. You know, it's like you can throw money at it to fix the problem. And that's, you know, if there's a lot of money in the bank, it's wonderful. You know, the individual, you know, every one of my properties or every two properties, depends on what entity you have, like 15 different entities. They own different properties and buildings. And the money that accumulates in those accounts, I'm still astounded by it. You know, I'm astounded by it. And because it's just a nice feeling, you know, at the end of the year, you go, oh, geez, you know, and I have different banks. So some banks I don't look at as much as others. And so when I go back and look at the bank, I'm like, oh, man, I haven't been here in a while. There's a big pile of cash in this bank account. And it's because I haven't been there to rob it to buy something else that I want to buy. And so what a great problem. What a great problem. These are the problems. These are the problems I want you guys to have. So let me see. And I hope I didn't breeze over somebody's question. So Paul, that's how that works. So on the scaling, and same thing on, you know, buying a property from somebody, you know, whatever, you know, you don't have to tell anybody that, look, I'm buying this because I intend to make money on the property. Everybody intends to make money on the property. Everybody that buys a piece of property, you know, you're taking a gamble, somewhat of a risk when you buy a piece of property. You're putting, you know, your hard-earned money down. You know, it is what it is. But if you're really smart and you really know value, there is no risk, or you're not going to feel like, I mean, look, if you just bought a property and you got a great deal, COVID might have shook you up. It's true. If you bought a restaurant, you couldn't open for 3 months. I mean, you can't see those things coming, but those things are rare. So don't be discouraged by that. But yeah, so minimizing the headaches is buy under market, and, you know, have enough meat on the bone from the rents and the income that you can pay to fix stuff when it needs to be fixed, because it's a horrible position to be in when, you know, you got to replace a roof and you don't have any money in the bank, you know, and it costs, you know, who knows what, $20,000 to $200,000, depending on what it is. Okay. Daham Dog 3, is it a good idea to buy a NNN single tenant building with 100% financing? Well, of course. I mean, if you can buy 100% financed property, and it's 60% below retail value, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, I bought a lake house not that long ago, and I got an amazing deal on it. I don't even want to say how good a deal I got on it, but it's worth a lot more, like many times more. And when I bought that, I one of the money guys that I talk to once in a while, he'd come in and ask me, I asked him, I said, hey, you got any more money? And he says, nah, Tom, he goes, I only got like 100 grand. And I go, man, I only need 80. I'll take it. So I got that 100% financed because, and this guy didn't even look at it. He knows that I don't buy anything that isn't a fantastic deal. I just don't. But yeah, if you can get somebody to owner finance, you get somebody to owner finance your property, you've now put the financing in place for the next guy that you sell it to, which is an amazing position to be in. I've done it many times, and you should. Nasser, how do you feel about converting single residences into duplexes? I showed a property the other day. If I was better on this, I'd show you on Google Earth. There's a property I bought in Lancaster, California, and it was a corner. It had access to the back. I'll just kind of draw it real quick, maybe. The way this property was, and the question was about converting a house to a duplex. Now, you probably can't do it legally, but I've done it. Other people do it. There was a house like this, and it had kind of a funny part of the house back here. This might have been the garage originally, because it was like here. And what I did is I poured some concrete back here, and it was so a car could park here, and maybe a car could park here too. Then these people just parked on the street. This was a rental. And so I had tenants that rented the house, and then I had another tenant that rented back here. And it lends itself to being like a mother-in-law's quarters already. I didn't really have to do that much, maybe put a microwave or something in. But in that situation, it actually made money. It made sense to do what I did. Now, it wasn't a legal duplex. It was not. But it was a rental that made more money now. And that's, at the time, this is 40 years ago, probably. Nearly 40 years ago. Yeah. Crazy how long it's been. Anyways, it made sense. Now, what also is interesting that I've seen is just the opposite. Converting a duplex into a home. And the reason that happens, and it can make sense, is that you can have a duplex in an area of homes where the neighborhood has gotten really popular and the homes have gone way up in value. See, homes have the ability to surpass the value of duplexes and triplexes and even commercial property. Here's an example. I'll give you two examples. Okay, here's the street, okay? I bought a restaurant here. I bought a lot. I bought a house. Then it was a street. I bought another house. And I bought another house. And then this was a street, okay? Now this was a 4-lane street, okay? Okay. When I bought it, my thoughts were to turn these into commercial property, make a bunch of money, because they would rent for more as a commercial property than they would rent as a house. And that's what I was interested in, was in the income. Well, what happened is the neighborhood behind here, okay, and let's just say that commercially as an office, these would bring in, whatever, almost twice as much rent. But when I bought them, they were worth about $100 a foot. All the residences in the area were worth about $100 a foot, right? Well, what happened is that the houses became worth $300, okay, a foot. Well, the $300 a foot for a residence surpassed the value of these if they were commercial. Commercially, these were worth about $2 a foot, okay? $2 a foot. So even though I bought them for $1 a foot, and my intention was to turn them into commercial, like this restaurant and like a gas station that's across the street, it became more profitable for me to just give up those, aspirations to turn them into offices and simply sell them for $300 a foot. And that's what I've done. I got one left. And so, properties I paid $105,000, $110,000 for, I sold for $430,000 was the last one. Anyhow, 4 times more than I paid for them. But as an office, they weren't worth as much. And some people can actually buy them, and if they want to use them as an office residence, that's up to them. I'm out of the picture now, it doesn't matter. But anyways, good question. But my point is, I've also seen duplexes, like say that's a duplex. Same thing. See, a duplex is a lot like a commercial property. Duplexes are valued based on the income they produce, right? You buy a duplex, you can't live on both sides, right? So you buy it for how much income it produces. Well, just like in this scenario I described, it made a lot more sense to simply take out the wall and make the duplex a house. Because if it's a house, it was worth, again, $300 a foot. But as a duplex, it was only worth $2 a foot. So, little renovation, and you get 50% again on what the value is. Does that answer your question? Let's see who else we got here. All right. Oh man, a lot of people right in here. Okay, back. Yep. Oh, I froze. Sorry about that earlier. Listen, okay, so here's the next question. Yeah, so Nasser, you can understand, you can do both. You can increase the value or you can devalue it. In this case, if you'd have taken a house and split it, you'd have devalued it. If you'd have combined a duplex, turned it into one unit, you increase the value. Alex wrote, how do you handle sellers that are clearly overvaluing their property? You beat them up. No, if somebody's asking too much for their property, if you want to do it real subtly, like here's one of the exercises I go through when I want to buy a property from somebody that is under renting and maybe overpricing based on their rents, is I go, okay, well, let's sit down and we look at the numbers, right? If somebody has a property and they have their rents aren't high enough, the rents are low, but they want a high price. What you do is you go through and you go, okay, let's look at tenant 1. Let's look at tenant 2. Let's look at tenant 3. Let's look at tenant, 4, etc. Okay, and you go, how much is the rent? 500, 500, 500. Okay, and so in the end you go, gee, you got $2,000 a month coming in. Okay, if you can see that, hope you can. You got $2,000 a month coming in. But if I buy your property with 25% down, that won't even cover the mortgage. That doesn't make sense, right? So in other words, you're explaining to them in a subtle way, you're too high. You're asking too much. Your rents don't cover the mortgage based on what you want for the property. That's one way you can bring them down. Now, it could very well be you can get $1,000 for each of these, but again, based on the numbers that they've provided, you're doing your best to beat them up on that price. That's just how it works. In real estate, look, somebody's got to lose. Somebody wins. There are some win-win situations, but in general, if you're going to make a profit on a property, they got to sell for less than it's worth. That's just how it works. And I'm trying to get this glare off us. Let's go to the next question. I think I covered you there. I mean, that's the kind way to do it. I don't beat up on people. In fact, when I walk a property, you'll know in my mentorship, I tell everybody, don't offend the seller. You're not going to do yourself any favors. Just get the seller to like you. That's the best thing you can do. And, you don't pick the property apart like, oh, this is a piece of crap. I mean, sometimes you have to with an agent. An agent you can talk to a little bit like that. But the owner direct, never offend the owner direct. I mean, there's just no reason for it. It's not gonna pay off for you if you do that. All right, let's go back here. Well, Claude, showing them the comps is not necessarily the best thing to do because, I mean, you can show them the comps but if you're trying to buy it for under market, you better find the stuff that's sold too cheap, right? All right, Keith. All right, thanks, guys. Okay, hey, Tom. Okay, yeah. Let's go. Keith, yeah. I actually had a little correspondence with me, Kevin. I'll tell you what, Kevin, meet Kevin. I don't agree with his real estate. Obviously, I don't think much of the way he buys real estate. But I'll tell you what, that kid is smart, and he is one hell of a YouTuber. He's an amazing guy when it comes to YouTubing for sure. But I like him. I like him for the reasons I've stated. All right, you got the book. Glad you did. I don't buy tax liens. I don't know much about them. It's just I can tell you, if you're talking about auctions, I've been to auctions. They have a right to reclaim their property even after you make the deal. So it can be like a big waste of your time. But you know what? I'll tell you guys a really interesting story. Right here, let me go through these questions first. What the interesting story is, remind me to tell you about a tax sale on a huge property. Okay, Rui. Hey, Tom, today I was bird dogging, talked with some people on the street, asked for information about old houses for sale. After the 20th person, a mechanic gave me a very good tip. A building with 4 apartments and a warehouse, $30K. In that area, apartments like that sell for $40,000. Thanks to your book. Yeah, thanks, Rui. No, that's exactly right. So, like I said, well, I erased it, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You got to ask questions. You got to stick your neck out there. You got to go do stuff. And this is the thing. This is what separates you from the sheep. Okay, the sheep that don't make any money. Okay, you got to be, not that you got to be a wolf. Okay, but you got to be aggressive. You don't run away. You walk. You walk toward the problem. You walk toward the purchase. You walk toward the property, and you engage. And so, like Rui just did, it took him 20 times. You got to be tenacious, and he got a guy, and now he potentially found a property that's he's getting 75 cents on the dollar potentially. And who knows, maybe he'll get it owner finance. I had this experience again. Somebody I've been talking to on and off, not very often, for the last 2 years. Got a hold of her the other day. I stuck a note on her door. I lost her number. I actually used PropStream to remind me of her name, which I like the PropStream. If you want the app, you can get a free trial down below. I have a link to it. I think it's pretty cool, but only if you got the $97 a month. It's $97 a month. A lot of you can't justify that, but if you can, it's not bad. But what I was going to say is, she told me she doesn't want to sell, and she's an old lady, but she still doesn't want to sell. And I want to live at the beach so much that I might even pay full price, to be honest. But what I did find out is she said, by the way, my neighbor is going to sell. My neighbor is going to put the property on the market. Well, I got a hold of her neighbor, and sure enough, he was going to sell the property. Unfortunately, he's a real estate investor. And so he knows exactly what's happening. So anyways, but 9 times out of 10, it's not somebody like that. It's somebody else that potentially could sell for less. I'm hiring somewhere, Ego, but not for my real estate stuff. I already have somebody kind of working for me. I've got a few people kind of working for me. But agents work. Become an agent. Ega. Let's see. I just bought your book. Got paper book, so I won't get it till Friday. Can't wait. Hey, good man. You'll be glad you did. I guarantee you, you'll love the read. It's all real. I wrote it. I know. I've lived it. You can become a hard money lender just by having money. Just make sure if you're going to loan somebody money that you get a lien on the property. Let's see. Well, I don't want to go into all my investments, Elite, but I've got some invested in some app businesses. And no, I don't have any stock. I don't care for stock at all. It's just, I've never seen anything so volatile to news. A little bit of bad news and the stock drops like a rock. Doesn't make sense. You could have a bunch of bad news about me, and it wouldn't change the value of my property. But even having bad news about an individual in a company can make a company drop like a rock. I can't stand it. All right. So, hey, we've been going here for over an hour. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Those of you in my mentorship and all my friends and have the book and been watching a while anyways, I'll be offline here for a few days. But look, get the book, folks. Amazon and Kindle, get the book. It'll be the best $10-20 you ever spent. Making money in real estate is not hard. It's not nearly as hard as working your whole life. And the best thing about real estate is you don't know if you're going to become a millionaire or, a billionaire. You could get either. You could get there. I'm not a billionaire, but I've had a lot of fun along the way. And I haven't just lived my life to make every dollar I can make. But when I do work, I make money. I make some real money. And that affords me the ability to play like I have played for the last 40 years. I've had a fantastic life. I've been on the best vacations you can imagine. And I don't go into debt paying for them. When I was a kid, when the parents said they were going to Hawaii, it meant they were going to Hawaii, not the kids. Okay. Now I take everybody. In fact, I've been to an island and been disappointed where we went. I said, I don't like this. And we jump in a little puddle jumper and we fly over in a little Cessna to another island. Those are the things you can do when you got extra money, and it's important to you to have a good time. And anyways, so I realized I almost forgot the story. I'll tell you real quick what happened about a tax sale. If you can imagine a tract of homes, right? Let's just say that this is like a green belt, okay? This is a green belt and it has a creek. The creeks, so they can't build on a creek, so a lot of times the creeks, they turn into a green belt, right? And usually down the middle of a creek, a lot of people don't realize it, but that's usually where you have like a 24-inch sewer main. And then all the houses in the area, it's funny, all their sewage is running toward the creek. Of course, it's in a pipe, and it's going into a pipe in the creek and going elsewhere. Well, there was a subdivision like this, and nobody realized it, but this enormous piece of property, which was probably 30 acres, maybe more, but probably 30. We're talking about maybe 1,000 homes around this thing, okay? They didn't realize that this was actually just an individual lot and had taxes to be paid. And somewhere along the line, the HOA just dropped the ball and nobody thought about it anymore. And this piece of property went to tax sale, 35 acres roughly. It was worth millions of dollars, millions. Well, a guy got it. He bid on it. Nobody else bid on it. He got it. Nobody else could figure out what it was. He bought it. And then he went over to an empty lot, like right here, okay? An empty lot. Here he is standing there looking at his property. And the neighbor comes out. And this is why I always tell you, stay quiet. Don't talk about your deals. Don't talk about them till you got them done, till they're yours, till you own them. Loose lips sink ships. Well, the neighbor comes out and says, hey, how you doing? He goes, can I help you? And instead of the guy just saying, oh, no, I'm just looking around or, or something, he said, oh, I'm looking at the property I just bought. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, I bought that property on there. He goes, no, you can't buy that. That's the green belt. And then instead of going, oh, yeah, I guess you're right, and leaving, he argued with the guy and told the guy, no, I just bought it at a tax sale. I own this now. Worst thing he could have ever done because, and this is what I don't like about tax sales. There's a right of redemption. From the time you make the deal to buy the property, at least at many of these, the ones I've been to, they have 30 days to reclaim it. So if you buy somebody's property at a tax sale, now it's yours. You got it for X amount of dollars. But there's like another 30 days or maybe more for some places where the owner has the right to come back and pay the taxes, and then you get your money back, but you don't get the property. Well, the neighbor was so upset. He goes, oh, man, this is not going to happen. He rallied all the neighbors together, and they got donations, and they put together the 50, 30, whatever $1,000 they needed to get the taxes caught up. And they took it away from Big Mouth talking about his deal before he really had it. And as a result, he lost millions of dollars. And this just happened not that long ago, but that's what can happen. And this could have been a super success story for him, but in this case, it was a lesson in keeping your mouth closed. But hey, that's it. I'm going to go. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And let's see. Tom, purchase price land in California. Start. Lou, do you mean a vineyard? Well, look, you can make money in anything. Hotels are a business. I don't want to be in business, that kind of business. I don't mind being in, maybe. But some hotels I know are very profitable. I've seen people make a fortune on them. But it's not, I'm not a people person, to be quite honest. I like people, but I don't want a business where I got to be surrounded by them like a restaurant. I'm not service industry. All right. I'm going to go. Have a great week. Again, I should be back Friday. And, maybe we can do a meeting, do another Zoom meeting with the mentorship. Maybe Saturday. I'll put something up. But always post in the forums in Flip Anything USA if you got interest in the mentorship or get the book or go to flipanythingusa.com. And, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you soon. Bye.